Hi, welcome. For those of you that I've not met yet, I'm Rose and welcome. This is a LifeForce yoga practice. We're going to be touching into welcoming what is in times of struggle, in times of grief, sadness, happiness. It's to yoga that I turn. And as a teacher, it's the gift that I offer to you in the hopes that you find some steadiness, groundedness, and fortitude. With that said, I have 3 rules for yoga. The first rule is to always be breathing. The second rule is if it hurts, don't do it. Were we in person, I would say something to me, but since we're not in person, um, adjust it however you need to. Stop doing the practice, go back to something that you liked before or something that you do know. You can always reach out and ask me, what do I do instead of? And then my third rule is if you find yourself in a place of confusion, well, what did she say to do? I don't understand. Instead of getting hung up and doing it right or doing exactly what I said, do whatever you think I said, as long as it doesn't violate rule number 1 or rule number 2. Easy peasy. Make sure that you take care of yourself. I'm sitting like this because I sit like this a lot and it feels comfortable for me. That might not be the case for you. So do whatever you need to do to make yourself feel comfortable. If all you end up doing is visualizing the practice, thinking about the practice, then you've done yoga. It's a beautiful thing, good for your body. It builds those neuromuscular connections when you think that and visualize yourself doing the posture. So, with that said, let's start to come to the present moment, to the right here and the right now. And let's start by rubbing our hands together. Feeling that sensation of the hands passing over each other, the warmth that's building there. You do the same thing at your knees too, if that felt easier for you. Sometimes it feels nicer to rub the knees. I like rubbing the knees simply because it's on my legs and it's 2 parts of the body that are further away. Feels a little more soothing for my nervous system than rubbing my hands together, but whatever works for you. You can get those hands nice and warm, those knees nice and warm. Do this to your feet too. It's great for your feet. And then let the palms come open, eyes soft for a moment. Ooh, feel those hands. Mine are really tingly, full of warmth and energy. Maybe you feel vibrations there, buzzing sensation in the hands. And as you're feeling this, and it slowly dissipates, turn your attention to how the breath is moving the body, which immediately changes because you're watching it. That's okay. Feeling that breath moving in the body. And then bring the hands to the heart, the hands that may be full of energy. Let them rest on your heart right now. Feeling the warmth, the weight of the hands. Offering yourself a little love right here, right now. And then with a sighing exhale, release the hands from the heart. Releasing the weight from the heart. Inhale, bring the hands back to the heart. And with an exhale, release the weight. One more time. Inhale, hands to the heart. And exhale, release the weight. And then taking hands out to the sides. Let's start with a side to side action. Inhaling center, exhaling to the side. Inhale center, exhale to the side. However you go to the side is fine. Just starting with that opening the side body here. And keeping your hand on your thigh as you start to open that side body keeps us in a place of opening, steadiness, without being excessively vulnerable. When we're sad, when we're grieving, we can feel excessively vulnerable and may need a little bit more grounding. And then if you wish, you can start to add a lift of the arm. You can experiment with it. How does that feel? Might feel better on one side than the other. It's okay for your pose to be asymmetrical. And let's add an ah. Ah. Let's draw that ah out. Ah. 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 One more time to each side. Ah. Ah. Make sure you're even. Ah. And then we come back to center. Pausing here, feel the sides of the body. The left side from the rib cage down to the hips. The left sides of the ribs. Inhale. And feel the breath moving into the sides of the body. Exhale, release it. Inhale, bring the shoulders up, 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 up. And exhale, down, 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 down. You can draw the shoulder blades together a little bit, squeeze back there to release, engaging those muscles. And then with eyes soft here, notice what is present in the body, where there are little tensions, where things feel ready to release. And then offering up for yourself an intention, inviting that blessed intention for yourself, that prayer that the heart offers up for your growth, for your well-being, emotional well-being, mental well-being, physical well-being. Welcome that prayer from the heart in. Simplify that prayer. Make it nice and easy. Easy to remember, easy to repeat. And then let's take this down onto our backs. Yes, sometimes the body wants to move and stretch and release and do all these standing poses, but when we're feeling it, letting ourselves rest. You can still work it when you're on your back. You can use a blanket for under your head, cushion for under your head. I know I always like a blanket under my head. Why not let the head be comfortable? Okay. So this is constructive rest when we're on our backs. The feet are on the floor. Start here for a moment with the palms open at your sides. Even if that feels uncomfortable, let the hands be open. Taking 3 breaths here with the hands open. Noticing how your upper back feels, how your low back feels. How your mid back feels, even how the hips feel. And then bring the hands to rest on the abdomen. Breathing into the hands. And all of a sudden here, there's a closed circuit of energy. Inviting a healing energy to radiate from the palms of the hands into the center of your body, the center of your being. We take 6 breaths here. Inviting that flow. Inviting that release, that energy exchange between yourself and yourself. And now let's begin to nourish the spine with the breath, with the movement. The spine, the very center of this physical structure. The spine from which information travels to the rest of the body. The spine which holds us up, which needs strength and support. The spine which bows under the weight of the world, the emotional weight of the world. So with feet on the ground, inhale and expand the breath into the abdomen. And then as you exhale, start to draw the navel back towards the spine. Inhaling to expand. Exhaling to draw the navel back. This time, as you inhale, press lightly into the soles of your feet to tip the low back into the earth. And then exhale, let the pelvis release as the navel comes towards the spine. Inhale, press into the feet. Tip the low back into the floor. And exhale to release. Again, inhale, tip the hips so the low back presses into the earth. And then this time, as you exhale, keep drawing the navel towards the spine, but let your low back begin to lift off of the floor as your tailbone reaches towards your heels. Inhale, low back pressing into the earth. Exhale, pressing your tailbone towards your heels, navel to spine, letting the low back lift. This is a therapeutic pelvic bowl breath. With this movement of the pelvis and the breath, We're nourishing the lumbar discs, nourishing the low back. Yes, it's probably opposite from how you've normally done this movement. Trust me. Inhaling as you gently press the low back into the floor using the feet and the abdomen expands. The counteraction of the abdomen keeps us from over rounding the back and damaging the lumbar spine and ligaments. And as you exhale and let the back arch into its normal lumbar arch and the navel comes into the spine, we protect the integrity of that lengthening in that arch. As you're doing this, begin to imagine that the rib cage is moving in the opposite direction from your hips. Inhale, soften low back, presses into the earth as you inhale. Exhale, tailbone reaches towards your heels, but your rib cage starts moving in the opposite direction. Not so much that you feel tightness in your back, that you feel the resistance of muscles in the back, but definitely enough so that you can feel some length happening in the torso. It may feel nice to take a moment and adjust and draw the shoulder blades under. Inhaling, pressing the feet into the floor, low back into the floor. Exhaling, tailbone reaches towards the heels, rib cage goes the other direction. Starting to awaken the glorious length and freedom of your spine. We're going to add traction to this. We're going to make it even yummier. So traction can be done by placing the heels of the hands into the crease at your thigh between hip bone and thigh bone and pressing, or you can do that with fists. So we'll inhale, do nothing, and then exhale as you rock the pelvis, start to press the thighs away from you. And then inhale, soften, low back tips into the earth. Exhale and press. Let's have the sound of O here. O. Releasing through legs. Now we'll add the sound of ooh, but this time as you add the sound of ooh, you can alternately press the legs so you get a little side to side action in the pelvis. Ooh. This is especially nice if you have little tightnesses, constrictions in the low back. Again. Ooh. Okay, one more time. Let's do ooh, legs and hips. Oh. Let the body rest for a moment. Circle your wrists, especially if you're pressing hard. You're probably feeling that in your hands. but your spine probably feels nice and open. From here, without disrupting any of the length that you have awoken in your spine, lift one knee up and then the other. You can hold in front of the knees, bring your hands behind the knees. So you could stay just like this. You could still have your feet on the ground. You'll wiggle your hips from side to side. And we're going to do that same action with the pelvis. So if it felt really good with your feet on the ground, you can stay there doing that. Or you can try it here with the legs in a different position. So again, we inhale and let the low back press into the floor a little bit. And then on the exhale, you're going to move your tailbone towards the floor to allow for that arch, the spine to lift off of the floor, even as you're drawing your knees towards your chest. And then inhale, low back into the earth. Exhale, drawing the knees in as you press your tailbone towards the floor. If you've got your hands on top of your knees or behind the knees, as you exhale and press your tailbone down, press the knees into your hands. Ooh, and you may be able to feel all of these muscles awakening in the hips, the thighs, the pelvis. Inhale, soften that. Exhale, press the tailbone towards the earth, drawing the knees in. 3 more. Gently and slowly awakening into some deeper core strength. Then holding that right knee wherever it's available to you, you can take the left leg up, the left foot up, spreading the toes. You could bring the left foot down. You could extend the left leg on the floor. Doesn't really matter. Inhale, and then exhale, draw that right knee towards you, but press that knee into your hands. Inhale, soften. Exhale, draw the knee in, press the knee into your hands. One more like that. And then on the next exhale, bring the left leg up and release the right leg. However you're releasing the right leg. Again, inhale. And then exhale, draw the knee in, but press the knee into your hands. Inhale, soften. Exhale, draw the knee in, press the knee into the hands. One more time. And then bring that right knee up and place the feet back on the floor. Place the hands back on the abdomen. Let the eyes be soft and breathe naturally here. Notice how your feet meet the earth. How they find that solid connection, the steadiness of ground beneath them. As you inhale, how does that steadiness, that ground, connect with your bones? your solid structure. Breathe that sense of steadiness all the way up into the core of your body. Noticing how the hips meet the earth now. And then let's bring the legs together. And you'll start to walk the soles of the feet together, but keep the knees up. Knees are up. Inhale. And then on the exhale, let the knees start to drop open. And then inhale the legs together. Exhale slowly. Open the legs. Inhale together. Getting a sense of what you feel in the hips, the low back as you do this. Allowing yourself to adjust. Maybe one hip wants to open more than the other. No forcing. Let's add that ooh sound again. Ooh. Inhale together. Ooh. Inhale together one more time. Ooh. And if it's okay for you, take 3 breaths in this position where the hips are opening. That sense of vulnerability and all that brings up within you. Welcome what's being brought up within you. And then when you finish your 3rd breath, use the exhale to squeeze the legs together. And now let's come into some unevenness. So stepping into that vulnerability and then coming out of it, now unevenness. Bring one leg up and over, crossing your legs the way you're not supposed to cross them anymore. Begin to feel the unevenness in the hips, how one hip is now higher than the other, how one foot and one leg is grounded and the other is not, how the twist starts to work its way into the hips. And even as you notice these things, these instabilities, these unevennesses, connect with your own evenness. And then release and switch. Other leg is over. And here again, we find ourselves in the growing unevenness. One leg is grounded, the other leg is not. The pelvis begins to twist, to rotate. And yet from this place of watchfulness, we cultivate an evenness. And then slowly release. Both feet on the ground again. Let the hands come to rest on the abdomen. breathing here in a physical state of evenness. And notice how the mind can rebel against evenness, against that sense of steadiness. That sometimes the mind is seeking the unevenness, the chaos of life, because that's all that it knows. And now we'll connect in with those abdominal muscles, those steadying, strengthening muscles. So taking your feet up off of the floor, knees up, you can lengthen the back. And then we'll bring the knees so that they're right over the hips. It's okay if your back is slightly arched because you're going to draw your navel in. And then bring the feet so that they're in line with the knees. Arms can come up over the head or up towards the ceiling, whichever feels easiest on your shoulders. Inhale, and then exhale, begin to lengthen one leg. Inhale, center. Exhale, extend the other leg. Simple as that. Switch legs as you exhale. Keep drawing navel to spine. Use your breath. Inhaling with the legs at center. You may need to adjust your hips for a moment. And then again, exhale, press through the leg. Pressing. Okay, keep going. Building core strength, core stability. 3 more with each leg. Last one. And then release, feet down. Oof. Again, hands can rest on the abdomen, although you might want to start exploring palms open. You might feel a lot of intensity in the fronts of the hips. I'm like, well, I don't feel anything in my abdomen. Trust me, that was working. And then removing anything you have underneath your head. You can take your arms open. You can bring the feet a little bit closer. Inhale here. And then with the exhale, press into your feet to lift your hips up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, press and lift. Good. Keep going. Starting to release through the fronts of the hips, strengthening through the back line of the body. Let's do 3 more. And then release. What's it like to be here where the heart is more open? Maybe you're feeling more connected to the strength in your core. And through that strength and stability, the heart can soar. And then begin to release through the hips and the legs, whatever way works for you. Trust your body to tell you what it needs. If you're unsure, not quite in that place yet, you can start to windshield wiper the legs from side to side. Remember, always be breathing. And then when you're ready, roll yourself over onto one side and hang out on your side for a moment. Give yourself a hug if you'd like. You can use that blanket for support still. And then using an exhale, press yourself up. We're going to come back into that seated position in which we started. And as you're in this seated position, notice how it feels to sit here. Maybe you're feeling an ease of length in the spine. And as you come into this place of centeredness and stillness, begin to invite an awareness of how the body is coming present in this moment. You might have gurgly belly. You might feel some muscles awake that weren't awake before. The breath might be flowing, or the breath might be in a place of stillness. And yet you're not holding the breath, it's just quiet. And within this stillness, growing stillness in the body and the breath, turn your attention to the feelings that are most present here. And for just this moment, really welcome the feeling. Let yourself begin to feel that feeling. This is feel your feelings yoga. You can ask this feeling what it needs right now. Does it need a movement? Does it need a release? A stretch? A couple of movements? Whatever this feeling is asking for, Give it that right now. We're going to move into that. We'll have a couple minutes here to move to explore sound. And then we'll be setting up for our Shavasana, our rest and integration practice. So whatever your body is asking for, go ahead and give that to your body with a gentleness, with an ease. And if you're just totally unsure, my body's asking for a pigeon pose, and I'm going to do this lying down variety. So you can join me if you're joining me, bringing the foot up and crossing the ankle over the thigh. And this might be enough. Start with a gentle side to side action here. And then bringing the knee up, interlacing the hands around the back of the other thigh. So if the right leg is crossed over, the hands are interlaced behind the left thigh. And finding that rock here. And then adding that ooh sound. Oh. 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 You could stay here. You could continue on to the other side, doing something totally different. If you're joining me on the other side, again, cross the other foot over so the ankle's on the outside edge of the thigh. Thread the hand through the opening, interlace the hands behind the thigh. And again, side to side flow here. And again, that ooh sound. Ooh. 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 And you could stay here. Maybe there's something else you need. Some other release. You may be finding your way into that Shavasana, that release pose. If you want, I'm feeling called to one more pose, bringing the knees up, hooking two fingers underneath the big toes, and then lifting the feet up towards the ceiling. And with an exhale, drawing the knees down towards the floor next to the ribs. Next little opening for the hips. Instead of letting the tailbone move up towards the ceiling, press the tailbone down towards the floor. Nice long spine. And the grounding sounds of oh, ooh again here. Oh. 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 And then release. And you can start by bringing the feet down for the position of constructive rest. The feet are on the ground and the knees rest against each other here. If you had something you wanted to place under the knees, you could. Or if it feels comfortable for your body, you can lengthen the legs out long. One way to know that this lying down position is appropriate for your body is to just check the backs of your thighs. If the backs of the thighs touch the floor, then you're not overstretching and compressing things in the hips, the low back. And yes, you can have a lot of junk in your trunk and your thighs would still touch the ground. So if you're not feeling the ground under the thighs, or if this just feels too open for you, bend the knees, bring the feet to the ground, tip the knees into each other, and let the hands rest on the abdomen. Let the eyes be fully soft here. We open our awareness to the now, to the rise and fall of each breath. To the sounds, the sound of my voice, the sound of your breath in your nostrils. Maybe the sound of your own heart beating. Tuning into the heartbeat, feel that gentle pulse, that rhythmic pulse of the heart, of the energy in your body. Staying totally present. Watch how things begin to change the moment you engage with the thoughts that rise in the mind. Let those thoughts become as ephemeral as clouds. They show up in the sky of the mind. And yet we can't touch them. And they pass from the field of the sky that is the mind. And you are just watching those clouds pass by, sometimes absorbed in the quiet beauty of the contrast of colors, the shapes and sizes. And yet, these are just clouds. You are still you. Observant and present. From this place of observation, in which you may wish to stay a lot longer, in which case, be my guest. Bring the awareness back to the heart. And as awareness comes to rest at the heart, begin to deepen the breath. Each breath getting deeper. As you now begin to wiggle the toes, the ankles, the knees, the hips, wiggling the fingers, wrists, elbows, shoulders, stretching, reaching and yawning. Point. And then rolling yourself over onto one side, giving yourself another hug. This time, let it be the hug that you've been longing for. Oh, yeah, you do deserve it. And then using an exhale, press yourself up, back into that seated position. And let's honor ourselves and each other with the healing tone of Om. Inhaling. And bringing hands to our hearts, we'll close with our heart prayer. I'll say it twice. Feel free to join me when you're ready. With great love and respect, I honor my heart, my inner teacher. With great love and respect, I honor my heart, my inner teacher. So thank you to each of you for sharing, for your presence, for me, yourself. I hope you feel more nourished. Thank you. And until next time.